Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of G&A Podcast. I am Kenny Ackerman's Titan, Drooby-Doo.
And I am Eins Ulgon's favorite bone cleanser, Soberoni.
Oh my god, that actually sounds gross. What the heck?
Not as gross as like the 50 other things that went through my mind during that intro. That was the least lewd thing I could think of.
Yeah, I feel like we were a hop, skip, and a jump away from calling it like his douche or something. Welcome back, guys. We are not here to talk about our very questionable nicknames, but we're here to talk about anime this week. And this week, this is really weird. This is a really weird week. Like, there's nothing too, like, at least for me, there's nothing too, like, this week. It was everything was just very weird. So stuff ended, which I did like.
I feel like there was some stuff where it's weird because normally I wouldn't like said things, but it somehow worked. And we're especially going to talk about that when we get to Overlord. But for now, let's talk about Attack on Titan, Season 3, Episode 10.
Yes, where we were just, a weird-ish yes and no. It is a weird episode because it just goes into, like, the life and the past of Kenny Ackerman, which no one honestly asked for. I mean, it was
kind of
cool.
wanted it, but not that much.
Yeah, like, they went, like, really intensive, like a little too much, like, for my taste. I didn't hate it, didn't dislike it. It was just weird. It was just like, and I know like I said, the whole theme from like the beginning is like we're talking about everyone's past, like very past heavy season.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this episode because I like the direction it took in terms of like at least Kenny got a backstory, and I did like his backstory, and it was like interestingly done from like a stylized standpoint where it kept transitioning, and then it went to the present, and then went back to the past, and it was cool. But
what are you talking about?
It started out in the past, and then went to the present, and then he kept thinking about
the flashbacks.
The flashbacks he was
having. The flashback was pretty consistent. It was literally just like showed the whole.
No, and then as he was dying, he was remembering stuff that we just saw from the past. It jumped back and forth a few times.
Right.
So I liked the direction, and I liked the concept. It still felt really boring to me.
Yeah, I would just prefer he turned to a Titan, to be honest. He would have just been like, ha, gotcha, bitch.
I think it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, you need tension in these types of scenes, and there was like no tension. There was just a bunch of like,
because he was like, he's dead.
He's dead. Yeah.
Like,
so I'm just like waiting for him to die, and he's just talking.
Obnoxious, that scene.
So you just basically extended a death scene into an entire episode. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not.
It's definitely one of the weaker episodes of the series.
Is, but I don't want to knock it. I feel like this was a necessary episode. It's like a necessary evil to get out of the way so that we're like, later on we can appreciate the episode, you know? It's like, looking back on it, yeah, I'm glad we got development for Kenny and yada yada yada.
But the problem is I really like Kenny. I really like Kenny Ackerman before this whole season. They could have done it and
yeah, but
not change.
They definitely needed to.
And it did not change.
They needed to. They needed to show like how his relation to Levi came about. Otherwise, it would have been like a plot thread that would just hang there forever. Like, why is Kenny and Levi together? What basis do they have for their relationship? Like, find out more next week.
I mean, we knew it. Like, he said, like, I was raised by Kenny Ackerman. Like,
yeah, but why? Like, because based
Levi.
on Kenny's personality, he's just, like, an asshole. So we're like, why would he bother raising Levi?
Oh, yeah, we find out that. Which I literally could have skipped almost all of it to just be like, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm your uncle. Bleh. Like,
yeah.
You could have just said that in, like, 5 minutes, and it would have the same effect, to be honest.
Could have, but it wouldn't have been like so stylistic and drama and melodramatic.
I don't know. You just said it yourself. It lacked tension.
I know,
you're right? So it's like no, I didn't feel any of what you said. I didn't feel that stylized or whatever. It just felt very like.
They attempted to make it like that. They like did the panning shots, and the zooms, and like the fadeaways and all of that stuff.
Yeah, they really tried. Maybe if they didn't do it for like
20 minutes.
Yeah. So let's talk about everything that happened after that, because in my mind, that's way more important. Story finally gets coronized as queen. Everyone's like accepting it because she killed her dad. Shit, what happened to that?
That was
and then the whole
shit.
Yeah, no, that happened, and then at the very end
very
scene
end.
where Reiner loses to
Sexy younger version of Eren's dad.
Oh yeah, I don't care who he is. Yeah, he's like super hot. Yeah, he's kind of hot, kind of.
I kind of sort of have a problem with that scene in that, I don't know, it comes about, like, clearly it's leading up to another arc, but I feel like, why weren't they involved in this arc? Like, realistically speaking, you would expect, like, hey, they have a goal, they would continuously pursue that goal.
No.
No. Don't tell me this arc didn't feel like one arc ended, and now that the other bad guys are like, well, time for us to be up to bat.
I'm mad because, guys, if you go back to like a couple of episodes back, I literally said this like 2 or 3 episodes in, and you called me crazy. You were just like, it's whatever. I'm like, no, they don't just go away and then deal with all the humans.
That, but I'm just saying now, they didn't have to just immediately jump back into it. You could have had like a buffer episode where it explains why they weren't involved in this. It just feels like, well, it's our arc now, guys. Let's come in. There's a difference between what you said and what I'm saying now. I don't mind that they're staying back and not fighting if they have a reason to stay back and not fight. They clearly, based on this episode,
it's called plot. Yeah, they're like, we need this whole plot just for the humans and not involve the Titans.
I wish they had shown them, like, I don't know, fighting in another city or something.
I wish it would show them at some point during the entire arc. They could have just been in the background. Like, they could have just panned. They could have had like a scene or 3 throughout the whole arc to be like, hey, we are still here. We still matter, as opposed to like I said from the beginning,
evil Titans lives matter.
As I said from the beginning, hey, don't just totally delete their presence and then they come back. Because no matter how far or how long this arc came, once they came back, you would have responded the same. You would have been like, hey, why are these guys all back all of a sudden? And I'm like, that's the point I was trying to make from the beginning.
Let's put it this way: if this arc had ended and you see, because last time we saw them, it was Ymir, Reiner, and the other guy running away from Eren and co. So if this arc ended with Ymir and them finally reaching their destination and meeting that other dude and being like, alright, we're back, and this is the intel we have, at least it gives me some frame of mind to like, oh, well, they weren't acting because they weren't there yet. They were, this whole time they've been traveling to get there. As opposed to just like they were sitting on their ass not doing shit for half the season, and now that everything's wrapped up nicely, they can come and cause trouble. We'll find out in the next episode, I guess.
Alright, I'm done with this. Move on.
Context matters. Next up, we have Overlord, Season 3, Episode 11. Which, I don't know if it's my episode of the week or not. I think this is my episode of the week. For the weirdest reasons.
I am okay.
What?
I'm curious. See, I'm very curious because I can't. I'm trying to look for the episode of the week quality in this episode, and I just can't quite.
And you know what?
It.
And I get why some people would not like this episode because first off, the animation was pure garbage. Like it looked like it was. I think that Madhouse got a copy of the PlayStation Classic early, and they decided to render this whole episode using a fucking PS1 or something because the CGI looks straight out of the 90s. So that was garbage CGI. It was horrible animation.
I mean, it's typical CGI that they always.
No, it looked worse than normal. Like, did you not see like all the armies? They all had like the same model walking the same way, and it looked like it was coming from a fucking Nintendo 64. And then they had models like bouncing off of them.
I felt like it was like I feel like they took
it was like worse
a
than
model
average.
From like Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah,
you see all the characters
it was really, really bad, like really bad. But I don't care because the episode was fun, and I've never been one to care much about animation if it's not the focal point of the show. Like, I don't mind if Overlord has bad animation because the point of Overlord is not look how well animated Overlord is. It's about the story and the characters and all of that. And in this episode, made me care about characters I didn't care about. Like now, the whole opening scene made me like Henri, like with her being the chief and going through the sound. Like it gave her so much character to see her get all frustrated that she's chief now. Plus that she had to make big decisions for the town that she didn't want to have to make. I liked how Ainz didn't just step in and save her. He actually I was waiting for him to come in with like his army to save the town, but he never did. He had to actually leave it to Henri and her group of goblins to save themselves, and Henri had to make her own decisions. Like, I just like the whole setup of this episode and what it did for that character, the town as a whole. I think this was really, really good world building, really good character development, and we got a bunch of really over-the-top, stupid goblins.
Okay, I'm glad that's how you feel. I, on the other hand, well, actually, I always liked Henri. I liked it, so, you know, the character development, I agree with par for the course. I liked it. She was, like, that cute character who, like I said, I like it because this whole season has been about literally just her, like, you know, finding her own power, whatever. Also, Ainz didn't step in and save them because he didn't care about them.
Exactly, but in any other show, they would have, the main character would have been like, we gotta save them.
Well, he didn't have to because some other... In my mind, see, I didn't care about that because some other form of plot armor appeared, and it was in the form of a literal actual goblin army, which I'm just like... like, I actually would have preferred if everyone just got slaughtered, except for, like, the 4 who needed to survive. Because ultimately, I don't care about the other ones either. I actually don't.
I wanted the goblin army. The goblin army is dope, though.
It is.
There's like goblins juggling on.
It's like... I get it, but it's literally just like... It's just... Oh, cop out it. Like, no, I didn't.
It's not even really a cop out because she knew she had the other horn. They brought it up like multiple times throughout not just this season, but earlier before too. That she has the goblin horn.
Yes, the goblin horn isn't supposed to summon like a whole army, and that's why I'm not saying I hate it. I'm not saying I hate it or dislike it. It's just there are just things about it where it's just like. Okay, like I'm just giving an honest critique of like things like, yes, this was a fun episode, but once again, it's like, here these guys have to get slaughtered, but here comes plot armor to save them.
It's not plot armor because it was foreshadowed. Like, remember that when Henri went to the city and then she was held in the customs department, and then they evaluated her magic item and they specifically said, "Oh shit." This goblin horde is like fucking super ultra high tier level magic.
But she uses the goblin thing to literally summon the goblins that she had already.
I know, but that's why I'm saying that the second goblin horn had some kind of properties.
Wait, it's the same one.
No, she had 2.
She has 2?
Yeah, she had one to summon the first group of goblins she had, and then she had a second one, and that's the one that they confiscated and all that. And then they went out of their way to do this whole thing like, whoa, this is a really high tier item, and then Ainz kind of dismissed it like, it's just a goblin horn. Which makes me think that someone fucked up somewhere or something happened to change the properties of the goblin horn to make it some super rare, ultra high tier item.
The only thing I like about it
That's foreshadowing, by the way. That's what you do in a plot. But continue.
See, for me, and that's the one thing I like about Henri's whole stuff. That's the only reason. This is the only reason why I'm like, this isn't a shit episode. Literally, because in my mind, my whole theory about it revolves around Henri, which I think... I think it has somewhat less to do with the horn, and maybe something to do with her. There's something to do with her. It has to be.
What? They keep. Oh, you mean like how she summoned all the goblins and everything? Like it has to do with her actual ability.
Yes, they are also portraying that like big time.
Yeah.
They literally portraying that there's something big or hidden about her. And that keeps me intrigued. That keeps me, like, loving her story, because it's all about her, like, finding herself and whatever. Like, and that's the reason why I'm just like, okay, this episode was cool. I mean, you know, it was just predictable. Like, it was predictable. And that's the only thing I won't I wouldn't give it my episode of the week because I knew it was gonna happen. I was
But
like, some bullshit's gonna happen.
It was still
everyone's
really,
gonna win.
really fun to watch and really, really crazy and hype. So I'm like, yeah, I knew it was gonna happen from the onset. Well, aside from the fact that I thought Ainz was gonna help, but once I knew he wasn't gonna help, I figured like, oh, she's gonna use the Goblin Horn and reinforcements are gonna come. But still, the way they pulled it off was really cool. Plus, the ending had my favorite maid of them all, Lupus, coming out and fucking shit up and being all sadistic. It was just like it was a fun episode. It was just fun, and it did a lot to make me care about the characters that I previously didn't give a shit about.
For me, it was just I like Henry, so like it was a good episode for me, and I'm invested in her journey.
Yeah, I think this episode had all the makings of an episode I would hate. Like, it took place in the Goblin Village instead of taking place right after the cliffhanger from last episode. You know, it had bad animation, but just in spite of all of that, it still managed to be a great episode and like a fun, good episode, which took me by surprise.
There's a difference between fun and great. I'm
gonna say
not a great episode. It was a fun episode.
I'm gonna say great only because it managed to do things that were different enough from what it normally does. All the other fucking Goblin episodes were garbage. I'm sorry. They were. The beginning episodes with the Goblin City and all of that, like, for them to just shift it to the Goblin City now and make it fun and interesting and make Henri a lot better and make everything super out of left field, I just like the way it did it. I like the way it handled it. So I'm gonna call it a great episode. It made me care about characters I didn't care about before. It did everything it needed to do. I enjoyed it. Had all my favorite fun moments.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's move on
to Isekai Maou episode 12.
Yes, the last episode and the only episode I wrote in the other book. Oh boy.
This was gonna also contender for episode of the week.
I know. I'm on the verge of making my episode of the week. I feel like it'd be for like a really stupid reason.
This episode was really good though.
So basically, the whole battle with Clem and restoring Clem. At first, I was kind of disappointed because it ended rather quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like blow her up, and then power of friendship and love. Like, she was
it was super
back.
cliche. Talk about cliche. That was super.
That was very cliche. And I'm just like, oh, this is bullshit. It's gonna happen. Da da da. And then motherfucking one of the best villains, Alicia, comes out and is just like, no, I'm just going to take Shara hostage. And I'm kind of crazy.
Yeah, that was great. That was also really fun because I didn't see that coming at all. It's just like having, like, all right, yes. Go turn off the lights there, Shara. Okay. Alicia just pops out. All bloodied and everything.
Oh, God. And then when she was just talking about how mad she was, like, fuck humanity. Like, she had that crazy fate look on her face. Oh, yeah. That was so good.
It felt like a horror movie, like, after they think they kill the villain. Like, they kill Jason, and then they're leaving, and then Jason just pops out again and just fucks them up.
Exactly. Gosh, she was, like, just so maniacal. Like, oh.
Yeah, I think this, even though she's not a villain anymore, which is one of my problems with this episode, I like that she, I think she was a good villain. She was a really good villain.
She was. The only thing I would say, it's not her design as a villain, it's just, like, I don't know why they, like, literally tried to drive it home that she was evil, literally from so early on.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that.
I don't know why it really actually would have been a good reveal. Like, it would have been actually got a good reveal. If they didn't do all that extra stuff, I feel like I wouldn't have known until she like dragged them, like, let's go down this creepy alleyway. Yeah. Like, if they would change that and also didn't hint at anything else, that would have been a really strong reveal that she was a bad guy, because you wouldn't see it coming. Because all they do from like the previews, like when they talk about her, or like in that beginning of the opening of the anime, it just shows that like, oh, I'm a knight who's like went through some shit and I'm all sad and stuff. When like,
I think that the reason they went that direction though is because she's just so. She's over the top and stupid. Like, just... Yeah. Like, evil to the point where it's, like, obnoxious and dumb. Like, why are you evil again? I was mistreated as a child.
All right.
Like,
all right.
it is so
I
dumb.
will say, on the other hand, it was definitely like amusing to see how clearly she was like the bad guy, and everyone was just ignored it. He's like, Kreb Sama, like Lord Demon of all things.
Elgard, why are you happy with the Demon Lord not slaughtering the mortal races? It was just fun. Like, I find her to be a funny villain.
Yeah.
Like, she's maybe not funny, but she's just entertaining. She makes the show more entertaining by being there with her over-the-top, exaggerated expressions and, like, just evilness for no fucking reason.
Yeah, he's like, I'm so evil. Darn it. Everything's not gonna get killed and sacrificed. I cannot, like, usually everyone's like, oh my god, you're totally fun. Like, remember when they were, like, walking around, like, singing
the Biscuit song?
And then she just, like, this murderous look on her face.
I feel like she'd be the one, like, if there was a child's birthday party, she'd come around and knock the cake down on the floor. I'm like, fuck the mortal race.
Mortal race. Kick a kid over.
Yeah. So, she's a fun villain. And also, this episode had... I'll give this entire show credit, because it had an episode, this episode, where the ending kiss scene was a legit kiss scene, and it was with Krem, and not with the other two.
Not the main stars of the
So
harem.
there's been a trend of it doing things that are kind of like, what? That's unusual for a harem anime. So I continued that trend in this episode, which was really appreciated.
Yeah.
Lowly power, guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, the ending was cute. You know, it ended on like a cute note. Nothing to write home about, but it definitely wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm. I also think I like that it kind of tried to change its tone a bit. Like, a lot of times comedies and harems and stuff try to do, like, the last 2 or 3 episodes are, like, sudden tone shift and it's super serious and...
Excuse me.
Yes, like that. Like, it just all of a sudden stops being a comedy and becomes like, oh, guys, it's a finale, so we gotta make it super
They only did that,
serious.
for like 1 episode, even though it wasn't at the end.
Yeah, and this episode it had a bit of seriousness, but it was still, like,
it's still
funny and stupid, and you had those moments, like, when Sylvie was like, what's going on? So, that was cute, and it maintained its identity.
Yeah.
So, rating?
I
feel like I'm gonna be the Paula Abdul with this one. And you're gonna be the Simon Cowell. Chin's too long. 4 out of 10.
Did it keep me entertained at the end? Okay, I need to be
better than High School DxD, yes or no?
Oh yes, definitely.
Okay.
That's I'm trying to take my own bias out of it.
Okay.
And I'm like thinking about like if it like just on a score of like an ecchi kind of comedy anime, how do I do this? I would give this an 8.
Ooh, that's good. I will also give it an 8. I was leaning 7.5.
Me too.
But then I was like, you know what? No, I like the fact that this episode ended the way it did, and it was a nice, clean, cutesy ending. So just for that ending alone, I bumped it up.
Even though it's not my thing, the ecchi scenes were very good and very. It wasn't like this one trick pony like High School DxD,
yeah, it was like
where there was like, oh my god, we're girls. Issei has sex with me, and then just fall over him. Like no, they had a lot to work with, and it made it all work. And it was like for ecchi, it was very well. It's so weird that I'm giving it like an extra bump because like the ecchi was well done.
But that's how good it was. I just want to point out Diablo's harem is, in terms of the quality of the girls in his harem, easily top 5 harems, easily, like in all of anime. He has so many top tier girls in his harem.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those, you know. Once again, like High School DxD, this is definitely a quality over a quantity situation.
There's not as many of some others. Not like a Negima or something, but definitely high quality girls in his harem.
Hey, first of all, Negima's harem, even though there were a lot.
I would say that was number one though. Like Negi's harem is
I've never seen a harem where there's so many girls and they are
all good. Yeah, they're all top. But if you guys are looking for a fun harem ecchi type show with fantasy elements, then I recommend it. It's very fun. It does some things that subvert expectations.
Yeah, I would say so.
All right, now let's move on to another very strong episode in Chio-chan, episode 12, the finale.
Episode of the week.
Yet again, another thing that was almost my episode of the week.
Right? I have to really think of. Wait, is this? Oh, sorry, wrong notebook. Switching back to notebooks. Wait. Notes. Where are they?
Drew's over here fumbling with like 5 notebooks in his hand. He has a different notebook for every show.
No, I only just have the notebook for freaking Maou, Isekai Maou.
Well, the opening scene was pretty fun. Like the opening part, the first part, it follows the same trend of having the second part be better than the first part, but I still like the first part a lot.
Yes, What
are you contemplating?
If I'm making this my episode of the week,
I can't really see what you would, what other thing you would put there.
I know. I think
Persona.
I think I will make the. I guess I will make this the episode of the week only because like the last season. It's I don't know. It's weird. I did like this episode. I think it's not, is it my favorite episode? No.
Really? I actually think this is like a maybe top 3 for me.
I would say top 5 for me. Definitely not a number 1 though. It was very good though. The story, the first part was very good.
The whole issue with the picking up the cans and all of that. I just like Chio being super smug and then...
and then turned around on her. She was wrong about everything, and then she feels stupid, and she starts crying, and then Chiharu is, like, comforting her. and then they meet up with Manana, and then... I love how... And then Chio becomes even more child, and she's like, hey, it was my idea, so you should give me my money.
Chio is this whole first part was basically to show like Chio is actually a child.
Yeah, she's actually more childish than she thinks.
Yeah, and Chiharu is kind of the more mature one. Nana is also not. I feel like the order of maturity would be Chiharu's most mature, then Nana, and then Chio.
I don't know about that.
You put Nana ahead of Chiharu?
I would. Chiharu literally goes around trying to stick her finger up girls' asses.
Well,
so
she's very mature. That could be mature.
She's mature for her age, but she's not more mature than Manana.
Manana was climbing up a pole to get away from Chio.
Okay, because Chio was like trying to almost rob her for money.
In any case, they're all not necessarily the most mature people in the audience. But, yeah, I just like seeing Chio be shitty and bad and then get proven wrong and show how shitty and bad she is.
Yeah. It was very entertaining. But then we had the second half.
Yeah. What a way to end the series on that note.
Basically, Yuki gets exposed as this huge exhibitionist who just / nudist who just loves being naked, and then Manana is like, oh yeah, I kind of like being, she tries to do, Manana does the whole thing where she tries to fit in, even at the expense of Chio, but then it almost backfires because Yuki just gets, She just gets really
This is the
scary.
one thing that Yuki takes seriously in her whole life.
She's like, oh. She's like, oh. Hope you're serious about being naked, because if you're teasing me, you know, I can be pretty fucking angry at you. Like, I was like, holy shit. It was pretty funny. And then they go so far that she drags Manana in the bathroom and takes off her panties, takes off her own, and then
they're just.
I think Manana's the one who actually says it. She's like,
she's like,
She tries so hard to light their teeth. Like, oh, I love being naked.
She's like, I wish I had no panties right now.
And then Yuki's like, I feel the same way. Let's fix that. And then Manana's like, wait, I can't do this. And then she ends up actually liking it.
I just found it hilarious that they're just fucking around, flipping each other's skirts up for no. I'm like, you guys realize you're in public, right?
Gotcha.
Here's your skirt. Like, and then of course the best part when the Kabaddi girl shows up.
Yeah, and then Chio removes her, then they're all like, "Oh my god, we're all free without underwear." Now I will say this much, and this is the only reason why I'm just like, I feel like there was no episode this week that wanted to make it episode of the week. Like, there's no one episode per se that I was just like, oh my god, this episode is over the top amazing. I must make this my episode of the week or I'll actually die. Like, there was not. I didn't have that this week. This is why I'm choosing Chio, because I actually just like this anime. Of course, I love this episode and its ending. So, like, I'll admit, for semantic reasons, I'm making this my episode of the week. Because I'm just saying, like, with the comedy thing, they could have gone a little farther with that, I think.
Yeah, I feel like she should have showed up earlier, and that should have been like half of the segment.
Exactly, like that could have been amazing. Instead, it felt like she just made like
a joke,
a cameo, and
then
was gone. I also think for the season finale, Ando should have been there. He was such a huge part. Like, see, and that's my problem with this. Like, once again, love this anime. Still gonna get a very high score from me. I'm just like, for the ending episode, like, if this was literally anything but the ending, this would have been a great episode. I just felt like it was just a little bit weak for a final finale.
There was not sufficient like wrap up of anything really.
Yeah,
but I did love the whole ending sequence.
Oh, you mean the way they did the outtakes?
Yeah, you could tell that they had fun with it, because the whole ending sequence was like, here's a bunch of unused material, and then they like showed this fucking arc between Chiharu and her classmates, and she was gonna like do this shonen-esque battle against them. It was super over the top, and then they showed like unused plot points and stuff.
Yeah,
and then they went into like literal outtakes. It got super meta about it.
Yeah, exactly. That I appreciated. That was very funny.
So I can tell that the studio really like appreciated working on this and had fun with it.
Yeah.
And this was just overall a fun show.
Yeah.
Super fun show.
Very fun show. Rating?
I'm going to give this one an 8.5. 8.5. Probably the best comedy of the season. It's up there with, I have to still watch Asobi Asobase, but this was definitely one of the better comedies of this year. Which is saying a lot, because there's a lot of good comedies this year.
Fuck. I'm gonna give it an 8.5 too. I really wanted to give it a 9. I really wanted to give it a 9, but this last episode literally could have been so much better. That's literally like, it's just like, leaves a year. Like, literally, if it was up to me, I feel like the only reason why I didn't do it is because Oni would have made a huge stink about it.
I wouldn't have cared.
I was gonna say I didn't want to choose an episode of the week this week. Oh. I didn't want to choose anything, to be honest.
Nothing is good enough to be my episode of the week. It really.
Like,
I would have given it a 9 if the only reason I did it is because for me 9 is like, you gotta do something a bit more innovative, and this was pretty straightforward as a comedy. It was really, really good, but it didn't really push any kind of crazy boundaries. Like, it's hard to be creative as a comedy, but
if I feel like they just had like something that they could have really worked with, and then they just kind of just like and they stopped.
I will say, if in the debate for people who are like interested in between this and Asobi Asobase, this show is way more consistent with its jokes. Like, the jokes in this, I think since episode 2, consistently have been good. Like, we haven't had a bad episode since episode 1.
Yeah.
And, Asobase is, like, hit or miss every now and then. So, if you want a more consistent show, go with this one.
What else
like, if you're gonna binge something, I would say binge this.
And I don't know. And I think another thing that would have given it, maybe give it a 9 easy, is if they actually would have gone like the shoujo route, a shoujo route with Minan and Chio.
That would have been that would have been a layer of originality. That would have
given it a 9 easy. If they ended at the end of this season with them just being like having one more shoujo moment, and oh god, they even kissed, I was like, oh no.
Well, they did do like an accidental kiss in the behind the scenes fucking outtakes section of the episode.
Yeah, but you know, it's not the same. It's not the same. And you know, it would, if I feel like it would have been like the ending to Korra, but it would have made a little more sense. It would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah, I kind of wish they did that too.
Like, that would have been a lesbian ending that I was like, oh, this makes sense, because there was actually decent, like, build up to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like, you know, this is one thing that's just like,
I'm gonna miss this show.
I wish they just do season 2 and just focuses on them being lesbians.
We can hope, but that's not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
Alright. Next up, we have Boku no Hero Academia, Season 3, Episode 24.
Once again, just another weird episode. It's a really weird episode.
The quote of the week. This is a weird episode.
Like, it shows a POV from Twice.
I really like the way they did that, though. Like, I enjoyed the first half of the episode more than the second half, because the first half was so, like, I was wondering, like, what the hell's going on? Who's this random character? And then I slowly began to realize, like, oh, this is that guy from the art that had the split personalities.
Yeah, and I was like, I know there's a guy who always talks to himself. I keep forgetting who it is.
I love the way that they give villains their, like, they actually go out of the way. The villains are super interesting in Hero Academia. I think all the villains are pretty much as interesting, if not more interesting, than the main characters. Like, even the side villains, like this Twice dude. What's his name, Twice? I think his name's Twice. His backstory of, like, I made a bunch of clones of myself, and then all the clones started killing each other to figure out the real me. And now I don't know if I'm the real me or if I'm a clone. I'm like, that's deep. That's a deep backstory for some throwaway villain. It's like, like, just there. So, I'm looking forward to getting, like, Toga episodes and Dabi episodes and shit like that, because I want to see what their backstories are, aside from just being crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, Toga's just like, I think Toga's just a fucking psycho. Like, I grew up all rich, but then I realized I was crazy and I have this power, and I hope she like does some messed up shit, like, I don't know, has sex with her dad in the form of her mom or some.
That's super weird. But okay, I'll take it.
But just as weird as everything else this week. Yeah, they kind of go into a whole work-study thing at the school, which is basically like, oh, it's like your internship, but harder. Like, which is like, okay, like, I guess they're...
My guess is because they have their licenses now, when it's like their internship, but now they get to actually do stuff at their agencies instead of just following along and shadowing somebody.
Yeah. Another thing that I thought that was very interesting besides Twice is definitely the creepy guy who pops out of everywhere.
Oh, yeah, the third
AKA whom All Might's son.
I hope he's All Might's son. That'd be fucking great.
Or a family member of All Might. He's related to All Might somehow.
You just say that because he's blonde hair and a quirky attitude.
And weird blue eyes.
But
no, like, you remember when they said, oh, yeah, when they were making the speech, oh, we have to pass someone down, da-da-da-da. And you see All Might's face as he's saying those words. And then you notice All Might's view was not looking at Midoriya. He was looking at this other guy. He's looking at the back. No, I'm not saying maybe. I'm telling you that's what happened.
No, I mean, I'm saying maybe he's related, but I don't know. I feel like that'd be too straightforward of a thing. Besides, Deku's like, oh, I recognize him from somewhere. So, I don't know. I don't know.
I guess we'll find out.
I do want to say one thing about this episode in that there's one new character. I just have to say her name. Pony. I forgot the rest of it. But it's Pony, the new girl. I've never before had a girl show up on screen and instantly just become the best girl in the series. Toga's still best girl, but Pony's like right there, number 2 or 3. Sorry. Pony just said like 2 lines and she came out there and stole the fucking show.
You like her literally because
Team Pony.
You literally like her because she's just like a blonde girl with horns.
She's a blonde horse girl and has the cutest fucking like accent, like semi like foreigner, like this. I don't know. It's just super cute.
So you like her because basically she's like one of the characters from Centaur's life.
Yes. Oh my god, we need more Pony. I hope she's in more episodes. I hope she has a whole episode dedicated to Pony. But that's all I have to say about that.
It's not happening, but
maybe Pony and Toga can team up and have like an episode where they go shopping or something.
And it ends with Toga killing her because he's crazy.
What if Toga teaches Pony how to be a crazy psychopath?
What if Pony is actually like from the villain? What if she's
best girl squared?
Oh god.
Oh god. All right, let's move on to Steins Gate. 0 episode 20 what 23 22 22.
I don't know how to feel about this one. Like, I know it's supposed to be very epic with the whole oh my god, Amadeus, it's like you never existed and da 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 and you're going away and it's like you never existed and they have this whole like semi-romantic thing and it's like I get it. But number one, that's not Kurisu. And number 2, it's actually just a program. And I know he's still like traumatized, but I know he's acting like this because it's like, oh, it's like I'm letting Christina die all over again, essentially. It's like I get that, but for the same reason, that's why I don't care about it as much because it's like I've already seen you do this whole cause and effect where you pick Mayushi over Christina. Like I've already seen you do this.
Why are you prejudiced against computer programs?
I'm not. I actually like Amadeus a lot because she's
just Kurisu.
I like Amadeus. She's not Kurisu.
I like Amadeus as much as I like Kurisu because
I feel like, but they're not.
Maybe there's small differences, but overall...
I feel like those small differences add up. And it's like, I feel like this is not the same girl at all. Like, yeah, she'll have, like, her funny, cute things, but, like, that whole... the way she interacts...
She's not as teasing. She's not as teasing with
She's not teasing or in your face or, like... No, she does tease.
She does,
but she's not as aggressive.
Not as aggressive as regular Kurisu. Like Kurisu was like calling cops and
calling cops and like telling people more or less like fuck off. Like and this one's like more nice, and she's like, hey, I'm here to help. I'm gonna be kind of teasing. I'm gonna be kind of cute about it. Like whatever. It's great.
Maho's the aggressive one.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean that's just kind of how I feel about it. Like I understand like the whole emotion about it, but it's just like, okay, just go back in the past now, please. It's like you already had like this whole heartbreaking in Steins Gate, where it's like essentially like the same, except you saved Kurisu at the end.
So I don't know how to feel about this episode because I like this episode.
I did too.
But it wasn't... Steins Gate 0 has this weird thing where I separate a show when I'm watching, like, all right, how entertaining is this show versus, like, how well written and all that stuff. Like, the actual substance of the show. How good is that? And I feel like there's a lot of substance in this show. Like, the characters are well written. The dialogue is extremely well written. There's moments like this episode where the Amadeus at the end, and he's going back in time, and you had the touching thing with Kurisu, and all that stuff. But it's not really. It doesn't hit me emotionally as much because I feel like there's this saturation of drama in this series, so the drama in it just doesn't hit me as hard. And I'll get it. That's a personal thing for me. That's like just my preference. I don't like to be. That's why I don't like dramas as much, because they overdo the drama to the point where it's like, all right, it's drama all the fucking time. I get it. So when drama happens, it doesn't hit me as hard. So I just feel like substantively, this was a good episode, but it was very boring to watch, and it did not evoke any emotions in me because it doesn't. In my opinion, it does a bad job of balancing drama and lightheartedness, and you need lightheartedness in a drama.
Well,
to enhance the drama.
It's weird. They had it in the beginning.
They did. Like, there was moments in the beginning of this. Like, you mean of this episode, right? Or of the series in general?
Episode.
Yeah, like the beginning of the episode where it was Okabe coming back as Ho and Kyoma, and then he was making fun of Maho, and Maho slapped him because he picked her up. But I feel like those moments are way too far in between. Like, like we had that cute moment, and now we're not gonna have another cute moment for probably another episode and a half. So I don't know. It just feels like it needs to work up towards these dramatic moments, and it doesn't really.
I'm just looking at this picture. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at this picture of all of them, and I'm like, this picture is weird because Daru is actually taller than all of them, and he's like almost the shortest one.
He's about the same height as
Maho in this picture. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, who
drew this?
Who drew this? You can't, like, it's like, it's like, I feel like if this is a test, and out of 10, it's like, wow, I want to give you a 10, but I have to give you a 9 because you messed up, like, something fundamental about one of the characters, like his height. But either way, pictures aside, yeah, like, I feel like for this episode, it was, I think for the first time in a long time, I think I could agree with Oni about, like, it just doing, like, laying it on a little bit thick with the drama. Yeah. Just for this episode. Because even for me, like, I really wasn't paying attention when he was, like, talking to Kurisu at the end.
Yeah, it didn't. It really
I literally was going in and out. I was, like, almost kind of, like, watching, like, the football game, and I hate football.
Compare that to, like, the first series where they had the Kurisu moments between him, or between her and Okabe, and it's, like, those moments were just so much more impactful.
It's just that this whole series, I've already seen Okabe literally mourn over Christine. It's like, I get it. I honestly get it. You are sad about her dying. You're sad about Amadeus being there or not. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. You have made plenty of episodes about this. Like, plenty.
Yeah.
Like, even the last scene, I feel like they could have made the last scene more lighthearted because it's like, you already went down the whole super, like, somber tone when you're missing Kurisu or you're feeling some type of way about Amadeus. He does that. They do that so much within this series. So much. To the point where even for me, I reached my limit. I'm just like, oh my god, you're torn up about Kurisu, Amadeus, oh no, sad stuff, oh no, Science Gate. Like,
yeah, they hit on this note too much. I don't know. It just, I almost want to say it's too long of a series. Like, there's too much. There's not enough to justify that this series is 25 episodes or whatever it is, 24 episodes. Because I feel like they've dwelled on the topic so much that it's just oversaturated now. I'm like, yeah, I'm tired of hearing about Okabe's, sadness about Amadeus and Kurisu, and I don't know, like 22 episodes in. He's been doing it since episode 1.
Exactly. Like I'm all for drama because, like, I don't know. This reminds me of Kuzuno Honkai.
In a way.
in a way, because yes, the theme was always the same, and they're just like, oh my god, I'm lonely. I don't know how to deal with these emotions. I'm like a teenager going through sex, growing up, yada yada. This teacher is a crazy bitch.
Thank God for Akane, the saving grace of that series.
Okay, so I do not trigger you. You do not trigger me. All right, that's the last we're gonna hear about that. Point is that while the theme was consistent, I feel like with the difference between them, it's like there was some kind of progression with each character. They did not go back to the same point.
Yeah.
like every 5 seconds. They either stayed there and eventually moved out of it, or that's basically it. They stayed there and then they would eventually move out of it. Okabe is like, oh my god, something happened, and then it's like, oh my god, Kurisu, and then we're back to Kurisu, him being sad about Kurisu. Then he goes somewhere else, and it's like, oh my god, Kurisu, oh my god, like this whole back and forth. It's like, no, eventually, each of the characters from Kuzuno Honkai eventually evolved or changed in some way, shape, or form. I feel like Okabe, he did, and then he went back to being, and then he regressed into like super sad boy mode, and I'm just like, oh, we've seen this already. Stop. Stop. Is you're literally like, it almost feels like you're whining about nothing new per se.
Yeah. We'd be very bad life coaches. Like Okabe come in like week 25. Okabe comes into our office like, man, I'm still sad about Kurisu. Okabe, this is week 25. You need to get over this quickly. Come on. New content from your series. All right. So that about wraps up what we had to say about that.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the...
That is why we are not therapists.
Yeah. The last episode of the week, which is Persona 5, episode 25. Surprise! It's not the last episode. So my surprise.
I actually didn't hate this episode. I actually liked this episode.
Yeah, it was not a bad episode, actually, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, it was actually a good episode. I enjoyed it. I will say, and I say this briefly when I was watching with Oni. I thought the cognition change for Sae so he can get through the door was exceptionally weak. Like before the others, before all the others, it was like, okay, I'm suspending my belief a little bit, but sure, whatever. This was just like, hey, Sae, I'm Makoto. I'm your sister. I see you. My doors are open. There you go. I'm totally defenseless now. I'm like, what? How? That was very weak logic. I was like, I'm not a huge fan of that.
I did love the scene with Makoto and Sae where Makoto's all torn up about her getting the letter, the Phantom D's letter, and she just starts crying. It's like, I'm on your side.
I liked it. I like how Makoto, and I always thought it was so funny how like Makoto's face was always just like the same expression, like almost borderline expressionless, or just like very like neutral. Mm-hmm. I feel like it actually worked very well because I feel like I could sense her trying not to like show any emotion because it's like, oh yes, here is this letter. I found this letter I'm trying not to overreact. And then she actually starts crying because she's sad for her sister, and I was like, yes, that's actually a good contrast and a great change of pace for Makoto. Yeah. Where she usually shows no emotion, even when everyone just shits on her life and says awful things about her.
And usually the series, the anime at least, is like quick to not do the emotional part. I mean, whatever, we just need to get on with the plot and leave all the emotion aside. So I'm glad it actually went through the whole struggle that Makoto's going through with her sister and all of that. Because then it makes me care more about the fight, which was actually
I would say that was the best boss fight.
Yeah, so far.
Like, it did not seem rushed. It did not seem weird or very
well,
obtuse for no
she
reason.
seemed weird.
No, okay, no. Her actual like form, her boss form was absolutely repulsing. Like,
she just transformed into like a fucking Silent Hill monster.
basically, even then, that would probably look better than what we saw.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that was gross.
It didn't even fit the theme.
It didn't. She just turned into some mechanized
demon
robot.
She had like a Gatling gun that had blood stains on it. I'm like, Jesus, like, a
and
fucking
spikes
machete.
everywhere, and her boobs are also spikes as well. Like, ooh, choto kawaii, like, ugh.
It was way over the top. There was one gratuitous ass shot of her, which like
yeah.
I gotta go and find that after this. I'm not gonna use it as a thumbnail because I think it was not framed properly for a thumbnail.
No, wait, no. We said we use something else for
yeah,
a
we're using
thumbnail.
the Alicia
when she goes
crazy
that
picture.
ugly face, yes.
But yeah, no, if you guys want, if you aren't watching the series and you want something to look at, go look at this episode and skim until you get to that gratuitous ass shot of Sai. Worth it, 100%. It was way over the top, but I appreciate it.
I don't think it was that.
It was really.
It was out of
like I feel like
place
90% of the budget went into her ass of this episode.
I don't know. Maybe I wasn't analyzing it as much as you were. I did actually really like, again, how they incorporated like the other bonds into the main story. Like, it was like almost like a montage.
Oh
of, like,
yeah,
bonds.
where he was like shooting the gun and he remembers the plot. Yeah, that was really well done.
That was incredibly well done.
I think as far as like this was the best the adaptation could do. I think it's doing the best it could do. Yeah. It's not lazy by any means. It's just really hard to adapt the series, but they're doing the best that they can do, and it's coming out pretty well. A lot of these episodes are good, decent, fun episodes.
Like these past few episodes have been like consistently getting better.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I liked it. I'm looking forward to next. I'm actually looking forward to next week. I want to see how they handle this because it's going to clearly end on a cliffhanger. So, I want to see what the where they ended off at, and if there's going to be like an announcement for another season or an OVA or a movie. I don't know. But next week should be good.
Should be good. And with that, I think that about ends everything. Super shout out to everyone who's watching. Thank you so much. And if you enjoyed this episode, by all means, like, comment, and subscribe. Check out Twitter. Check out Discord. Diggity dope. And check out Twitch, because after all, it is just Twitch. Also, if you feel so inclined, you can become a Patreon today by hitting that link below and get all these cool, nifty things and
have your name appear in the title card, like right now.
That you see right now, and a whole bunch of other cool stuff, which I can't really think of. I'm having like a huge brain fart right now. Like my vocabulary has greatly like diminished in like this past minute. But that doesn't matter because you are at the end of the show. Do you have anything to say, Mr. Eins Douche Oni?
Stay cool, kids.
Yes, stay cool. That is what the douche is for. Yes. This has been Drewidu and
Soberoni.
And we are out of here. Bye.
Later.